So, who knows about MIFARE Classic here? Yeah, many people, and you probably all know that MIFARE Classic is already broken since a while, right? Well, it was through until like 2020 where a new card came that could resist all known attacks on the card side only, and I'll explain that a little bit. But don't worry, after this talk, everything will go back to normal, everything will be broken again, and we can go home. So, what to expect from this talk? Not too much technical details. Actually, there is a 47-page paper available online. If you want gory details, just go there. Here, it will be just a little overview of the work that I did in the past month as research. But I can discuss with you during the pause or tonight with a beer with much pleasure. So, yeah, it sounds a bit weird to talk about breaking MIFARE Classic in 2024. And I'll explain a bit. First, if you don't know about MIFARE Classic, what is it? It's just a memory card where you can store your own data, like on these areas. And the memory is structured in sectors, and each sector is divided in 4 blocks. And the last block contains some special stuff, because actually you can define some access control to say, yeah, you can read or write this data with this or that key. And the keys are stored here and there at the end of each sector. So behind that, there is some, of course, crypto. So there is some encryption of the communication, which is done, and there is also, of course, a first protocol to agree on the command key between the reader and the tag. So I will not explain the crypto part itself for the ciphering side, but the protocol, I have to discuss a bit about it, because all the attacks we will talk about, they're all related to the protocol, which is the very first phase when you try to talk to a tag. So how does it work? Basically, each tag has its own unique ID. The reader says, okay, I want to authenticate to block A or block B, with the key A or the key B on a given block. The tag, it takes a nonce, it's just a random number. It sends the random number to the reader does something with the random number, it generates its own random number, it sends everything encrypted to the tag, and the tag will check that it can compute itself the same derived value as the reader. That means they use the same key. And then it will also compute something derived on this nonce, send it back to the reader, and the reader will do the same exercise, check that it can reconstruct the same value as the tag. If both see that they can reconstruct the same value as the other one, that means they know that the other side knows the same key and everything is fine, we can go on and we can communicate. There is a second variant of the protocol, which is called the nested authentication protocol. Is when you're already authenticated to one sector and you want to move to another sector. There, you don't start from scratch. You are already in a session where you have encrypted communication, so you can start from there. And the command to jump to another block here, is encrypted with the current session, of course. Then you have exactly the same structure with this little difference, which is useful for some of the attack, is that the nonce generated by the attack is also encrypted, but it's encrypted with the new key, the key of the sector where you want to go. So you can imagine that as an attacker, you are the reader, and by sending, you know already the first key, so you talk to the attack with a first sector, and you want to jump to another sector, and suddenly you can obtain something encrypted with the key you want to break. So from the moment you can get some data like that from the tag, maybe there are some attacks that are feasible. So timeline, so the MIFARE Classic is super old. I think the very first version were like in '94. Then Philips also made some license about using MIFARE Classic technology to typically Infineon. So Infineon came with their own tag as well. Then you have the Chinese who started to make their own clones. There we talk about clone because, well, they are not licensed by NXP, and typically they are reusing some UID from the other manufacturers, Infineon or NXP. And I think the first one is around 2004. At least I found the version 1 of the datasheet of that chip by that date. Then around 2007-2009, everything started to fall apart. It first started with some reverse engineering, hardware reverse engineering, because nobody knew how MIFARE Classic Crypto 1 was working. So the first exercise was to do some decapping of the chip, a microscope, look at the gates, and reconstruct the whole crypto. That was published in the CCC in 2007. And from there, many cryptographs looked at it and found many vulnerabilities. So first paper was dismantling MIFARE Classic to highlight some of the vulnerabilities and to show you how robust is this crypto one if you are in a position to intercept, to eavesdrop on the communication between the legit reader and the legit tag, you immediately find the key. As easy as that. So you see, not very robust. You can play even a more funny game. You don't have the tag. So it's your own tag here. You don't have the keys. You don't have the legit tag. You go to the reader. You try to authenticate. Of course, it fails. Yeah, you don't know the key. But just by looking twice at the request from the reader, you can break the key as well. Écran noir. Ah. Someone running. It's a good sign. Ah, it's back. With some message. Ah, I think that's his PC, which is locking automatically after a while, something like that. You don't have my sharing anymore? I'm still sharing normally. I can restart my sharing if it helps. Stop sharing, up. C'est bon? You saw the screen? But not anymore. Okay, I restart the screen. Yeah, the setup here is very strange. Up, let's try again here. Yeah, works again? What does it say? I can't read. Okay, let's continue without slides. Then there was another attack, which from another paper, and that attack is called basically dark side. The title of the paper is much longer, but basically it's dark side. We'll see when, if, yes, maybe, yes, okay, good. Actually, so we have already vulnerabilities in the crypto itself, but we've also vulnerabilities in the implementation which is made in the cards. And a few issues were like, what is supposed to be a random nonce, in some condition you can make it repeatable. And also, normally, if the reader sends a message that the tag doesn't understand, the tag is not supposed to answer, but in some conditions, sometimes it's still replied with a non-acknowledgement, NAC. And that little info is still enough that if you try a few times, so 7 times where you get the NAC, but you get the NAC only once in a while, so it takes quite a while, but you can recover the key by that way. So just by talking to a tag, you don't need to talk to the reader anymore, just to the tag, so like someone in the metro you pass by, you could break a first key, but it's still pretty slow. So there is another attack which is interesting, which is described in this next paper, wireless pickpocketing. And there the thing is that we use the nested authentication. So we need the first key, that's why the first attack is useful. And then you jump from a sector to another sector, and there are some other properties of the implementation there that makes that just by trying a couple of times, 2-3 times, you can break the key as well. So the nested authentication attack is pretty fast. So I said it was the end by that time. Well, not really, because the manufacturer tried to fix at least the implementation vulnerabilities. The protocol vulnerabilities you cannot change them unless you break the protocol and it's not compatible anymore. So they came with the MIFARE Plus, where they wanted to actually the market to migrate out of MIFARE Classic already at that time. And today we have still MIFARE Classic everywhere, but because it costs a lot to migrate your infrastructure, change all your readers, and people were like, okay, MIFARE Classic, not very robust, but I can live with that. It's cheaper for me than replacing everything. So 2014, the manufacturer made still a real MIFARE Classic, but EV1 that at least fix also the mutation issue. So fixing, what does it mean, fixing? It means that first your NT, but your nonce, make it real random. And of course, when the reader doesn't know the key and told to the tag, don't reply anything. If there is no answer, there is nothing you can work on. So the dark side attack is not possible anymore. And the nested attack is also not possible anymore because here we are just getting something truly random. What can you do with that? But 2015, there was yet another attack on this, what's called hardened cards, and that became the hard nested attack. That's leveraging something that is explained so far, is that on top of the protocol, there is also some parity bits. That's something quite usual in communication. You want to make sure there is no error in the transmission, so you add some parity bit. But here they did it in a strange way, because they add the parity bit on the clear text, and then they encrypt it, and they encrypt it by reusing part of the key stream, which is used to encrypt the normal communication. And reusing bits in a stream cipher, it's a big mistake. It's like a one-time pad. One-time pad, one time means one time. Don't use twice your key stream. So you can still get very few information here, because actually you get like 3 parity bits per request. But by making many requests and some stats, BIM, you can break the key again. The attack is pretty slow, take a few minutes, but at least these cards are broken again. And then came somewhere in 2022, a lot of discussion on the Discord that we use for our RFID hacking about the type of attack that was resisting all known card-only attack. So no dark side, no nested, no dark nested, nothing worked. You could not break that card alone. Of course, if you sniff it, when it talks to a reader, you can break, because that's a protocol part which is weak. But going to someone's pocket and trying to steal the card was not possible on this card at all. Actually, that's what's dubbed like this static encrypted nonce, and I will show you why. But actually, we found out later that it's the Fudan with this reference, which is the same reference as before, Fudan like this one, but with an extra S for secure. And the first occurrences, I think, are around 2020. And we find them everywhere nowadays. I have a few cards here just on my own experience that are hotel cards from India, US, Paris, even festival tags, because they are very cheap. And the legit manufacturer, they don't really care much about MIFARE Classic. They would like everybody to move out of it. But the Chinese manufacturer is still invading the market with very cheap tags. So big consumers like festivals, hotels, where they have to buy many, they just buy the cheapest and work with that. And if they know that it's more secure than the previous one, well, they're happy with that. So what did they change? Well, of course, like the previous one, don't send NAC. But for the nonce, to avoid the previous attack that I explained, they don't make it truly random, they make it actually static, that they never change. Because we saw that we need, at least even for nested, like two, three different nonce. If you repeat the exact same request to the same block and the same key, if you get exactly the same nonce, it's useless. And you can try as many times as you want, you don't get more information, it's static, you always get the same. So the community looked a bit what were the characteristics of this static nonce, and they found that it depends actually on the card. So it's different on each card. It depends also on the sector you're trying. So even if the same key is configured on different sectors, there you get different keys. And it depends on the key. So if you change the key on the card, it will also change the static encrypted nonce that you see. So how could we break this situation? We need more nonces. We have only one nonce, so that doesn't work. Well, it's written here. There is some condition where you may have the same key that you want to break, but different nonces. And for that, you just need to look at the different sectors. So if the same key is used in different sectors, or if the same key is used across different cards, you may do something. So we assume that the key is reused across several sectors, for example. And that's what I call the reuse key nested attack. There, we just use our usual nested attack, but this time we look for different sectors from different blocks, and then we can collect different nonces, which normally we hope relate to the same key if the same key is reused. And it works. So we get the first attack on this type of card, but it's pretty limited because you need to have a key which is reused across several sectors. Then I tried what I call lightweight fuzzing. Actually, I wanted to get more nonces from the same sector. So I just wanted to see if with some other different conditions, I could get different nonces. So I tried different things. And actually, the command, authentication command to start authenticating to a sector, it's like 60 plus the block number or 61 plus the block number, depending which key you want to use. And I found out that actually there are other non-documented commands like 62.8a, which also reply with the same nonce, and I can also authenticate with key A. But still, it's the same nonce. So I found other commands, but just same nonce. Same thing for key B. But then the strange thing is that for some other numbers, I get a totally different encrypted nonce. And I cannot authenticate with the key A or the key B. So yeah, it looks a bit like there is another key over there. How to know? Well, let's assume that that key is reused across different sectors because we have a brand new attack, which is called the reuse key nested attack. So yeah, let's try that one. And we try, and we authenticate with this undocumented authentication command, and we try on different sectors. First sector, second sector, third sector. And yeah, it works. I found the key. And I found that key. That works across these three sectors. Then, of course, I try the same key on the other sectors of the card, and it works for all the sectors of the card. Then I take the next tag, and actually, that key works on all the tags. That looks like what we can call a hardware backdoor there. Yeah. So I can try to do a little demo with that. I need my hands. So if I do that, you see the screen there. And here I can probably go on the Proxmark. Yeah, and here I will do a first demo. So what can we do with the backdoor? We can read the tag pretty fast because actually we don't even need to re-authenticate to different sectors. We authenticate to any sector with the backdoor, and then boom, we can read all the data at once. So let's see how fast it is. So here, it's polling for a card. I have a nice GreHack card here, and I will just put it on my reader. Sorry, the wrong reader. That's the reader I'm looking for. And let's see how fast. Done. Yeah, thanks. That was an easy one. And then that opened new doors because previously we never had the case where we could access the data before the key. We always had to crack some keys, and then with the key we could get the data. But now we get the data first, and actually, sorry, maybe it was a bit fast there. You see the data, but you see there are actually no keys there. You see like here. No, it's a bit slow. but you see all the yellow stuff. You don't know the key yet. You just get the data. So what can we do with that? We can still probably do some funny attacks, like if the data is encrypted but unrelated with the keys of the card, we can just reuse the data, put it on another card, and maybe that's just already enough to bypass some systems. It depends a bit how the system is using it. But we can also do something more funny. We go back to the attack, reader-only attack. We go to the reader, we don't have the tag, we pretend to be the tag, and we recover a key. Previously, it was used just to get a key, and then you had to go back to the tag. But now we've already the data. So we can just crack the key that the reader wants to try, and then when the reader wants to read some data, we have the data. So we can just return the data immediately. That part, I think I can also try to demonstrate. So now it's demo 2A. So first step is that I need to dump the data of that card. But we saw it was pretty fast. So let's do it like that. Up. It's done in 200. Oh, sorry, I'm not sharing my screen. Up. Yeah. So I run that command, and you see that in a fraction of seconds, I can dump the tag. So once I have the tag, I can emulate the tag. I don't know the key yet, but I can pretend, emulate, and talk to a reader. I need a reader. Where is my other screen? I think that's this one. I will go show it to you in a moment. So here, up, second screen, at the bottom, I will put it there. So now, this reader will try to read my emulation of the tag. I put them one under the one. And I try to authenticate, you see, to the first block with a given key. And it fails, because I don't know the key yet. I try again. It fails. But we saw that with 2 attempts, we can crack the key. So you saw something moving on the other screen, that it says, oh, the reader tries to authenticate with that key. OK, let's reconfigure with the correct key. So now I try a 3rd time, and now it works. Still, OK, it would be nice to still crack the keys on the card alone, so that we can do a more classical way, a clone of a card. So, OK, what can we do there? So you remember the nonces that we get on these extra commands. Now, if you know the key, you can decrypt the nonce. So this is the plain text now that I show here. And actually, when you use the backdoor key and you decrypt the nonce that you got in that situation, they are the same. So like you see, key A, you got that nonce, and with the backdoor key, you got the same nonce. So now we can think about an attack where I know the backdoor, so I can use that key, I can decrypt the nonce, and now I can try to attack the key A, and I already know the clear nonce. So how that works, I authenticate with the backdoor, I get NT, I try to authenticate with the key A that I don't know, I get an encrypted nonce, but the clear nonce and the encrypted nonce, I can XOR them. It gives me 32 bits of key stream. The key is 48 bits, so I'm just missing 16 bits over there. So it's just a few candidates, and I can just try all the candidates and break the key. So now we have an attack where we can break any key of the card, and we don't need anymore the assumption that the key is reused across a few sectors, because we have already a key which is used across sectors. That's the backdoor key. We can do also another funny thing. Back to the demo I showed you. There, the reader was doing a first authentication and then tried to read the data. But now we can also support nested authentication in that case, which is something that was never possible before. That means talking only to the reader without having the legit card, and supporting nested authentication from the reader was just impossible. But now it's possible, because now I have the clear NT and I have the encrypted NT. So I can collect them up front to the tag, and then when I talk to the reader, I can reuse the same encrypted nonce that I captured, and I know the clear nonce. So just with the answer from the reader, I can immediately break the key. And when the reader asks to read some data, say, yeah, sure, we have already all the data. So now we have an attack where we have to scan one card for 1 second, and then we go to the reader, and we break the keys on the fly, depending on what the reader tries to access. And we give the data immediately, whatever the reader wants to do. Still, I wanted to improve a bit, again, the card-only part of the attack. So, can we accelerate a few things? And I tried to understand how the nonce, which was static but depending on the key, was actually being dependent on the key. And I found a strange relationship, which is a bit complex to explain, but let's say that if I know the nonce, if I know a first key and the nonce related to the key, and you want to move to another key, I can predict what will be the nonce. And with that relationship, it can already accelerate some of the attack, because when I have key candidates for different keys, if I know that this relationship holds, and it holds, for example, if keys are reused across sector, or if key A and key B are on the same sector but they are different, they have to hold that relationship. So basically, I have a factor 6 of optimization now on this type of attack. So we've put everything in a single script to demonstrate the attacks. And if I take again, like for example, my GreHack tag, and I go there, I don't need that window anymore. If I can, oh, that's with the lag, it's super hard to, I think I can just kill that window. I don't need it anymore. Okay, I hope that's the right one. So here I stop my emulation, and I will try my recovering script. Yeah, that's this one. And there it will implement the different attacks we talk about to crack the card-only side. It takes about 1 second to get the data. It takes about 20 seconds to crunch the data and prepare some dictionaries of key candidates. And here, in this case, I configure the tag in such a way that actually some of the keys are reused across sectors, which accelerate the attack. So you see here it went very fast. They all look random, but actually each key, some of the keys are reused twice. That's why it's fast. If I now try with another key, another tag which has completely random keys, we will see that after like 20 seconds, that it will take 15 minutes on average to crack the whole card, which is pretty slow. So I will interrupt the demo as soon as it shows me that. Okay, so now you see still about 15 minutes to run. Okay, too long for us. But we can have still another funny attack where it goes faster. Is what I call the lightweight, light fast supply chain attack. Supply chain attack. Why? Because we saw there is this relationship that once you know a key, like key A, you can break key B. But it's also true for the same key A if the key A is changed. So imagine supply chain, all the keys are default on the card at first. I'm the vendor. So I can capture all the nonce from the card, keep them. I sell you the card. You configure the card with all the keys you want. They can be all different. Doesn't matter. Then I can try to crack your key with the nonce that already acquired with the default key. So how does it look? I go back here. I reuse the same command, but this time I say supply chain. Okay, that's the correct tag. So again, it takes these 20 seconds to pre-compute all the dictionaries. That's a bit slow part of the demo. But once this part is done, with all the nonces that we collected, we will be very fast. And I will show you what was collected also as soon as the attack is finished. Okay, boom. And now all the keys are different. And the 32 keys were cracked in, what? 30 seconds. And actually, the file itself looks like that. That's all the data that I needed to collect as a supplier to keep enough information to be able to crack the card in 30 seconds, no matter what the content is. Up, we go back there. And then the story didn't end there, because that's about this secure card. But when I found the backdoor on the secure card, I said, oh, who knows, let's look at the older cards. And then older card has also the backdoor, actually. It's vulnerable to the older attack, so it's less important, but still, mentally, it's a bit strange to think that not only the very last tags, but also the tags from like since 2004 have also a backdoor with a different key. So the key there was cracked with just a regular nested attack. And then that's another variant with yet another key. Then the community started to poke around their own card, and they reported their finding. So for example, here, this is the, oh, there is an S missing there. This is a secure version, but on a 7-byte UID long. Again, the key that we saw previously. These are CPU cards that can emulate MIFARE Classic. All FM is all from Fudan, by the way. The last one, you don't find it in the paper yet, because actually it was found last week. Someone found an interesting one, that's a secure version, but with the key of the unsecure one. So at some point, they released a more secure card, but still reusing the key that could be broken very easily on the previous generation, which is a bit strange. But then we don't stop there. If we look to the legit cards, so the cards that were made at the time by Philips and Infineon, they have also the backdoor. And they have the backdoor with the same key as the Fudan one. So we had the Fudan here, and here all these cards, which are here from NXP, here from Infineon, they all share the same key. I don't have answers. If you want to go further, so there is this Lang paper, and every time I give the presentation, I have to update the number of pages. Now we have version 1.2 that was released last week, and there you will find all possible information you want. Also open questions, because it's so new and it opens so much things to poke around, and I poked quite a lot, but there are still some open questions. Everything is there, so the community can continue its research. And it's not just the paper, it's also implementation of Proxmark. Everything I showed you, the demos I showed you on the Proxmark, they are implemented on Proxmark. So I've added, I think, I'm not sure about the count, something like 7 new commands, tools, scripts. I also updated the previous existing commands to support the backdoor key besides the key A and key B. And by the way, a big shout out to Iceman for the support of the Proxmark. Proxmark is very old, and he never stopped working on improving the things on the Proxmark. You see here the timeline is a 10 years timeline. That's Iceman, that he posted that a month ago. You see 10,000 commits in 10 years. That's 3 commits a day in average. So yeah, big thanks to him. Now there is a new toy around since a couple of years, the Flipper Zero. So be reassured, if you have only a Flipper Zero and not a Proxmark, you can still play with things, thanks to Natanai, because he put a lot of effort to integrate all known attacks, including these new attacks, into the Flipper Zero. And it was merged. It took quite a while, but finally it's merged also in the official firmware like 2 weeks ago. And of course, if you want to dig more, all the community is on the same Discord server, so I invite you to join and have discussions there. And there is no single day or single week where someone comes with these new findings there, and we're helping them. And yeah, it's a great place to go if you're interested in the topic. Well, conclusion, I have only technical conclusion. Okay, we got a card that we thought would secure. It's not that secure. It's even worse. And then we found. I can recap what was found, but you get the idea. I don't have political conclusions. There, I'll leave it up to you. Myself, I cannot make proper scenario or why things are like they are today. Who put that where, for what reason? And even like if it's for operative work to facilitate an attack on the field, it's not very convenient because the backdoor can read the data but not the key. Why not the key? I mean, if you want to have a backdoor to very easily clone the tag, just let the key be readable as well. It's not also for debug purpose. I mean, you can only read the user data. That's not debug. There is no engineering reason for debug for that. So, yeah, I think I'm done. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Philippe. It was really interesting. Do anyone in the audience have questions? Oh, yeah.
Il n'y a que mon PC qui marche. D'accord. Mais pour le suivant.
Thank you for the great talk, Philippe.
Mais moi, je peux me débrancher quand même. T'as encore besoin de moi? Mais pourquoi faire? Si lui, il se stabilise, on est là. Le suivant n'est pas celui-là. Touche un peu, je laisse. Bon.
Philippe?
Okay.
Philippe, question.
Yeah.
Yes, sure. Where?
Thank you for the talk. So the key is 48-bit. You have a nonce which stays the same. How long it would take to brute force offline the key?
The key is 48 bits. The nonce is actually 32 bits. And the nonce, like on this on all the cards except the hardened card, it's actually 32 bits that come from a 16-bit LFSR. So actually, when you know half of the nonce, you can predict the other half. So things are a bit complex depending on the situation there. So how long you saw for the different attacks? The dark side, it takes, I don't know, a couple of minutes for one key. Nested is super fast. Hard nested is like 1 or 2 minutes again per key. And then for the attacks I showed.
I just meant like offline pure brute force.
Well,
like
offline pure brute force is not doable because it's just 48 bits to break. That's too much. You cannot just do an offline attack in a lifetime.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it seems we have a question on Discord. Have you tried contacting the Chinese food manufacturer for responsive disclosure or just fun and no profit?
We contact vendors when we find bugs. Here we thought it would be more important to inform the public about the vendor acts. So no, we didn't talk to the Chinese.
Okay. Another question.
Thank you for that conferences. You speak about 15-minute break all the sector on the max time. This is for the computing power of the Proxmark, or you can like use a more powerful computer with the Proxmark to like lower the time of the attack.
Here you saw the longest part of the. There are two. In ideal cases, when like a key is repeated or the supply chain things, the Proxmark is just working 1 second to get the data. Then the 20 seconds are actually running on my computer.
Okay.
With everything is offload over there. But I have also the same attack on my phone, just my phone and the Bluetooth, the Proxmark over Bluetooth. I can just do the same, but it's about the same time. When you have still a handful of keys that you have to try online on the tag, then you have to use again the Proxmark, but it's not the power resource of Proxmark which is the problem, is that just you have a few thousand keys to try, and you have to talk to the tag, and that takes time, and that time you cannot also avoid it much.
So it's like the time to speak to the card and not with the computing power.
Yeah, so we are not limited by the power of the Proxmark.
Okay. Thank you.
On the Flipper, we are limited because the Flipper doesn't offload that work for now, and the Flipper 0 is faster than Proxmark, but slower than my PC. So there it takes quite a lot of time. Normally, there will be at some point a new version of the Flipper with a more powerful processor, and there again, normally it should be faster.
Okay. Thank you.
No more questions? Okay, then let's applaud Philippe for his wonderful work.